Key points. 1. Some parents of adult children struggle to set reasonable boundaries with their children. 2. While having no boundaries may feel generous, not being able to say no makes it hard to trust that parent. 3. Saying no serves an important function. Much is said about parents who struggle or refuse to respect their adult children's boundaries, asking unwanted questions or offering unsolicited advice. But there is another type of boundary issue that creates problems in families with adult children, though in a subtler, less obvious way. Some parents struggle to set their own boundaries with adult children. In contrast to the parent who hates to hear no from their adult child, this parent never says no themselves. What can this look like? The boundaryless parent. 1. Says yes to their adult child's requests even to their own detriment, for example, offering time and money far beyond what they can reasonably give. 2. Never injects their own needs into plans with their child. 3. Allows their children to speak to them rudely and never push back. 4. Accepts responsibility for failing to meet their adult child's unreasonable demands. 5. Gives anything they can to keep the peace in the relationship. 6. Puts others ahead of themselves. This parent may experience themselves as simply a loving, generous parent. What parent doesn't want to care for and protect their child? Isn't it wonderful that they continue to give without restraint? However, adult children report that having a parent who never tells them no presents its own stressors. The problem with boundaryless parents. Navigating around such a parent is frustrating because the adult child cannot trust that parent to say no and set limits. Adult children of boundaryless parents may avoid asking their parent for favors like babysitting, for example, because they worry about overextending the parent who would never disclose feeling overextended. They do not ask for financial help because they worry the parent will offer more than they can afford to give and deny financial constraints. They do not ask for favors like an airport run because they know their parent will come to pick them up, even if it means missing an important meeting at work. Even the most generous parent needs to signal what is too much for them. Knowing that somebody can and will say no when appropriate plays an important function in adult relationships. It allows us to trust the other person to guard their own well-being. When a parent struggles or refuses to say no, it puts the onus back on the adult child to constantly read for cues that their request may be too much. Adult children with boundaryless parents also report constantly questioning how their parent really feels because that parent will never insert their own feelings into a conversation or admit to feeling hurt. This can look like a parent never stating their opinion on which cuisine to eat when going out to dinner. During a conflict, that parent cannot tolerate voicing that their feelings were hurt by their adult child, so they say everything is fine and absorb the hurt. Instead of talking through what hurt the parent, the adult child must become an expert at reading the parent's cues to try to suss out their feelings and then apologize for a perceived slight that their parent may then deny feeling. This prevents any true healing between parents and children. Adult children never get to learn what part felt hurtful and avoid it in the future, because the parent will not say. In its more insidious form, a boundaryless parent can enable children who struggle to function in adult life. Some adult children may take advantage of their parents' generosity and inability to set boundaries. This can take the form of living at home even if the parent has no space, taking money from a parent who cannot afford to give, and draining other important family resources. For adult children suffering from addiction, the boundaryless parent will enable their child's actions regardless of the consequences. Other family members may eventually step in and try to impose external limits on both the parent and adult child because neither party can be trusted to do so. Father, I need your help. I need wisdom. Please, by the power of your Spirit, help me parent my child. How I wish I had a personalized set of instructions. It seems like some things work with one child and they don't with another. Please give me wisdom. I want to parent this wonderfully made child you've given me well, not for me but for her good and your glory. Amen. Boundaries from parents to children serve an important function. When parents set appropriate boundaries, adult children can trust their parent to look out for themselves and their own needs. Adult children can rest assured that if the parent is upset or cannot babysit, cannot offer financial assistance, or would just prefer Italian over Thai food tonight, their parent will say so. Instead, boundaryless parents are hard to trust because they never say no, so their yeses may not be true yeses. In contrast to the feeling of generosity a boundaryless parent may feel, adult children report how much extra work it creates to take on the work of reading somebody who will not speak up for themselves. It becomes a true gift for those parents to start owning their needs and speaking up for themselves. Boundaryless parents suffer both materially and relationally when they never say no. When they offer time they do not have, their other relationships suffer from neglect. When they offer money they cannot afford to give, they may compromise their financial future. And relationally, when parents fail to inject their needs into a conversation with their adult child and set limits on what they give, they can grow to resent their child's requests and, eventually, the child themselves. The short-term payoff of offering something needed and avoiding their child's discomfort when they say no costs them the long-term relational integrity that comes from saying no, seeing that honored, and having a good relationship. Boundaryless parents may experience frustration, irritation, and burnout. In one scenario, a boundaryless parent can enable children who struggle to function in adult life. Some adult children may exploit their parents' generosity and inability to set boundaries. These children may continue to live at home, drain a parent's time and money, and never work through the hard parts of finding one's way in the world. For adult children suffering from addiction, the boundaryless parent will enable their child's ongoing struggle. In these situations, other family members may eventually impose external limits on the parent and adult child because neither party can be trusted to do so. Parents who struggle to voice their own hurt may unintentionally prevent the closeness their avoidance seeks to create. When two adults disagree, they rely on one another to voice what hurt them and what they need to rectify the situation. Parents who will not draw the line and say, "This hurt me," will continue to get hurt because their children may not realize how their actions impact their parents. Adult children never receive the gift of learning what their parent needs and honoring those needs. The irony is that the parent aims to protect the relationship by never rocking the boat, but never authentically speaking your mind means the relationship will always be superficial. Boundaries from parents to children serve an important function. Knowing that somebody can and will say no when appropriate is important in adult relationships. It allows us to trust the other person to guard their own well-being. Parents who struggle to set boundaries may feel resentful of their children and suffer burnout from overextension. Meanwhile, the adult child may feel resentment that the parent puts the onus on them to essentially set boundaries for their parents by constantly reading for cues that their request may be too much. A boundaryless parent's yes never feels safe because their no's don't exist. In contrast, when parents set appropriate boundaries, parents can joyfully offer what they can, and adult children can trust their parents to look out for themselves. When parents begin to advocate for themselves, everybody involved may get uncomfortable. The parents may feel cruel for putting basic limits in place, voicing a preference, or admitting to feeling angry or hurt. Boundaryless parents are so used to not making waves that their words may initially feel like a tsunami. Adult children, too, may bristle at their parents' shifting behavior. The long-term payoff of a healthier parent-child bond comes with the short-term pain of no longer getting a singular say in how the relationship runs. Adult children may sit with the discomfort of being told no for the first time and making alternate arrangements. Ultimately, parents and children will both feel relieved when the parent inserts themselves into the relationship more fully by speaking their mind. Parents can feel the relief of the enthusiastic yes when they mean it. They can watch their child accept the legitimacy of their needs and opinions. Children can start to relax and trust their parents instead of having to read them so closely. And both parents and children can experience the closeness that comes from working through an issue instead of avoiding it by claiming nothing hurts. That's the thing about boundaries. Far from keeping family members separate, they form the parameters that help two people feel truly close.